Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss about the chapter Molecular Basis of Inheritance and the part 7 that focuses on the genetic material DNA. In the previous part, we saw the transforming principle by the Griffith experiment or the Griffith effect, and there that was the kind of first experiment that led towards the discovery that DNA might be the genetic material. And then further, more discoveries were made. So this video focuses on another major experiment and how how people got to know that DNA is actually the genetic material. And generally there can be questions from this part in the NIT examination, and we'll see what kind of questions as we progress through the video. So Alfred Hershey and Martha Chase, also known as Hershey and Chase, So this experiment that we'll soon talk about is also known as Hershey and Chase experiment, and you must remember again the names of these scientists, Alfred Hershey and Martha Chase, because as I told in the previous part, sometimes they will have match the following questions and they can have these. So it will be very easy to score. So just remember the name of these scientists. So they conducted further experiments to establish that DNA is the genetic material. They used viruses for the study of genetic processes because of their simple structure. The virus have simple structure and chemical composition and their high rate of reproduction. Virus, they reproduce at a high rate. They worked with viruses that infect bacteria called as bacteriophage. You must remember this, that the viruses that infect bacteria are called as bacteriophages. Only the viruses that infect bacteria. From bacteria, you can say bacterio, and viruses like phage. So it's bacteriophage. The bacteriophage attaches to the bacteria and its genetic material then enters the bacterial cell. For example, let's say this is the structure of the bacteriophage. What is a bacteriophage? Bacteriophage is a virus that infects bacteria. So it will go on the surface of the bacteria. For example, this is the surface of bacteria. It will go inside and it will release the genetic material that he has inside, So this Hershey and Chase, they kind of exploited this property of viruses to understand the genetic material. Okay, so bacteriophage attaches to the bacteria. Here it will attach to the bacteria and its genetic material enters the bacterial cell. The genetic material will enter the bacterial cell. The bacterial cell treats the viral genetic material as if it was its own, So the bacteria is not very intelligent. So bacteria will say, this is my genetic material, and then it will replicate it, it will let it grow, and it will also result in formation of certain proteins, and all these things. Subsequently manufactures more virus particles, So what happens? The genetic material comes inside and then the bacteria itself synthesizes, all the proteins that are required for the composition of the bacteriophage. Okay. So what is the initial step? This bacteriophage, which is basically a virus that infects the bacterial cell, will go and bind to the surface of the bacterial cell. It will then release its genetic material inside the bacterial cell. And bacteria, it's not very intelligent organism. So this bacteria will take up the genetic material and it will treat as if the virus genetic material is its own genetic material. And subsequently, it will help the virus to manufacture more virus particles. So how this experiment was conducted, So the first step was that they grew some viruses or bacteriophages. Okay, because in this case, these viruses are going to infect bacteria, so they are called as bacteriophages. They grew some viruses on a medium that contained radioactive phosphorus and some others on a medium that contained radioactive sulfur. So what do you mean by radioactive? Radioactive means they have radioactivity, and this can be later detected. So what they did is they took certain bacteriophage, and some of them, like for example here, they grew them on sulfur media, on radioactive sulfur containing media. So what does this mean, So here, you can see that radioactive sulfur labeled protein capsule. How does protein get labeled with this radioactive sulfur? So what they do is, they take a normal phage and they grow it, let's say, in a particular medium that contains this radioactive sulfur. Okay, for example. So, but this phage doesn't contain any radioactivity, right? Because in nature, phages do not have any radioactivity. But what phages have is proteins. And proteins contain sulfur. Why do proteins contain sulfur? Certain amino acids are there, that are sulfur containing. For example, methionine. Okay, methionine is an amino acid. If you don't know, you will definitely learn about this in the later chapters. But methionine is a amino acid that is incorporated in the protein, and this methionine contains sulfur. So, when the phage is normally growing, what happens is it needs methionine and therefore it needs sulfur. So, when it is synthesizing a particular protein that contains methionine as an amino acid, it will take up this sulfur from the medium. And the sulfur is what? It is radioactive labeled. Is it clear? How how the radioactive sulfur gets incorporated into the protein capsule? Because when phages are grown in a medium containing radioactive sulfur, they need to synthesize proteins. If they want to grow, they need to synthesize proteins. And these proteins have methionine, as an amino acid. And methionine has sulfur, therefore they take up this radioactive sulfur from the medium. It is very easy for them to take it up, and as a result of which the radioactive labeled protein capsule bacteriophage is formed. Okay. The next, half of the viruses, they grew on a medium containing radioactive phosphorus. And as a result of which radioactive phosphorus labeled DNA is formed inside the phages. Now what about the DNA? How does DNA contain phosphorus? You remember, DNA contains phosphate group. Okay. So it is the same principle, there is a medium that contains radioactive phosphorus, and here you have the bacteriophage. And when the DNA is being synthesized, it needs phosphate groups. Phosphate groups contain phosphorus. And here there is this radioactive phosphorus that will be taken up by the DNA, and as a result of which radioactive phosphorus labeled DNA will form. And these are mutually exclusive. What does this mean? Sulfur is never present in DNA. Okay, what does DNA contain? Let's revise. DNA contains phosphate groups, nitrogenous bases, and it contains nitrogenous bases, it contains phosphate groups, and it contains the ribose sugar, none of which contains sulfur, So it is not possible that there will be a bacteriophage with both radioactive sulfur as well as radioactive phosphorus. And the other way around, none of the amino acid contains phosphorus. Okay, so they had like some viruses that were grown in a medium containing radioactive sulfur, and therefore the radioactive labeled protein capsule was formed. And there were certain other that were grown in a medium with radioactive phosphorus, so radioactive labeled DNA was formed. So, here also DNA is being formed. In a sulfur containing medium, obviously the DNA is also formed, but it is not radio labeled because this medium contains only radioactive sulfur. And DNA does not contain sulfur. Okay. And similarly here, protein is also being synthesized, but this medium contains only radioactive phosphorus. Okay, so proteins will not be radio labeled. This should be very clear that half of the bacteria contained radioactive protein, half of them contained radioactive DNA. Okay, so viruses grown in the presence of radioactive phosphorus contained radioactive DNA but not radioactive protein, because DNA contains phosphorus but protein does not. And why does DNA contain phosphorus? Because of presence of the phosphate groups. Okay. Similarly, virus grown on radioactive sulfur contained radioactive protein but not radioactive DNA, because DNA does not contain sulfur. And why does protein contain sulfur? Because of presence of amino acids that have sulfur. For example, one of them being methionine. Okay, so this should be very clear. So now we talk about the experiment. So what this experiment indicated, these findings indicated that protein did not enter the bacteria from the viruses, but DNA from the virus enters bacteria as genetic material, because of which radioactivity is discovered in bacteria. So, initially we said that what is a bacteriophage? A bacteriophage is a virus that enters the bacterial cell and then it releases its genetic material inside the bacterial cell. And the aim of this experiment was to find what is the genetic material. Okay, today we know it is DNA, but at that time Hershey and Chase did not know it's DNA. So that was the main purpose, you have to understand. So as we discussed before, these are half of the bacteriophage that contain radioactive protein, sulfur labeled protein, and these are that contain labeled DNA. But what was known at that time is when bacteriophage, a virus that infects bacteria, attaches to the body of the bacteria, it releases the genetic material. So they exploited this property, because they knew that this virus will put its genetic material inside the bacterial cell. So then they wanted to find out what is this genetic material. So these half of the bacteriophage were with radioactive protein capsule, sulfur labeled, and half DNA labeled. So let us look at this half first. Okay. So this comes here. This will bacteriophage will come here, and as a result of which it will release the genetic material. And what is the genetic material here? We don't know. Okay. At that time they did not know. So they released the genetic material. And then what they did centrifugation. So initial was infection. The first step is infection, that the virus comes and infects. Second is blending. It blends its genetic material, and then you centrifuge. Okay, and whenever you centrifuge, you have two components. One is the pellet and the other is the supernatant. Generally, the liquid one is supernatant, more heavy is the pellet. So pellet is the cells here. Which cells? Bacterial cells. Okay. So coming back to here, so they saw that no radioactivity was detected in the cells, but radioactivity was detected in the supernatant. So no radioactivity was detected in the cells means no radioactivity was detected in the pellet that contained bacterial cells. And what does supernatant contain? Supernatant contained these empty viruses here. Okay, so when it was sulfur labeled, there was no radioactivity in the pellet. And why do they want to see the radioactivity in the pellet now? Because if there is radioactivity in the pellet, it means that particular molecule is the genetic material. You get it? So here, the genetic material is DNA, so DNA is coming inside. However, we have protein coating of the capsule, So this part is the capsule. The genetic material is not radio labeled here. Only the other part, that is the protein, is radio labeled. So as a result of which in the cells there was no radioactivity detected. But here in the pellet, because there is this radioactive sulfur present in the protein capsule, they did detect the radioactivity. And now coming to this part, it was radioactive phosphorus labeled DNA of the bacteriophage. Infection takes place, blending, like the genetic material is now here, and then they do centrifugation. And the genetic material of the bacteriophage enters the bacterial cell, and this is radioactive. So in this case, they detected the radioactivity in the pellet in the bacterial cells, but no radioactivity was detected in the supernatant, which means that this particular bacteriophage, when it puts its genetic material, this genetic material is DNA. Okay, is it clear? So whatever comes inside the bacterial cell is the genetic material. And how can they detect it? By detecting the radioactivity in the bacterial cells. So when they detected the radioactivity in the bacterial cells here, where the DNA was not labeled, here the DNA is not labeled. By labeled, I mean there is no radioactive labeled, is not radioactive labeled. Okay, here DNA is not radioactively labeled, and DNA is the genetic material. So DNA is coming inside, so no radioactivity detected. However, in this case, in the bacteriophage, the DNA is labeled radioactive phosphorus, phosphorus from the phosphate groups. So here the radioactive DNA material from the bacteriophage comes inside the bacterial cells and the radioactivity is detected. So these findings indicate that protein did not enter the bacteria from the viruses, but DNA from the virus particle enters bacteria as genetic material. Okay, here protein did not enter. In both the cases, DNA enters because we now know that DNA is the genetic material. So there was no radioactivity detected here, but activity detected here. And that is why radioactivity was discovered in this set of bacteria where it was labeled DNA. Okay, so now we see what are the properties of genetic material. Replication, we all know that DNA is capable of replication, and in subsequent parts we'll also see the process in detail. Chemical and structural stability is one of the most important properties that a genetic material must have, It should have chemical and structural stability with age, stages of life and changes in physiology, The genetic material should be stable under all these conditions. It should be able to undergo mutation to produce variation that allow organism to adapt to modification in environment, so that evolution can take place. This is very important, that there should be mutations so that the organisms can adapt to different environments and evolution can take place. Expression of genetic message in the form of Mendelian characteristics. You must have read, or you will further read all these Mendelian characters. So the genetic message in the form of Mendelian characters must be expressed. So replication. Both DNA and RNA can replicate on their own because of base pairing and complementarity, but proteins cannot. Okay, so proteins were eliminated. It's always a fight between DNA, RNA, protein. Today, of course, we know it's DNA, but at that time it was still getting discovered. Okay, so DNA and RNA can replicate, but proteins cannot. So protein was anyways eliminated. Then it was a fight between DNA and RNA. So Griffith's experiment showed that even if they heat killed bacteria, it did not affect the transforming principle. And here we talk about chemical and structural stability. You remember the Griffith experiment in the previous part, right? If you don't remember, just go over the video of the previous part. So what happened? There it was the heat killed S strain, and this heat killed S strain under normal condition is not able to kill the mice, is not able to cause the streptococci pneumonia infection, to cause pneumonia. However, when it was put with the R strain, this DNA of the heat killed S strain got into this R strain and converted it into S strain. Okay, this is revision from the last part. So even under the situation of heat killing, providing high situation, this DNA was capable of coming back and transforming the R strain. Okay, so Griffith's experiment showed that even if the heat killed bacteria, it did not affect the transforming principle. Therefore, it was chemically and structurally stable. It is now known, this is now known now that even if two DNA strands are separated, they can come together under suitable conditions. If you provide them back normal conditions, so this is the double stranded DNA. Let's say, it gets, these two strands are separated, but when normal conditions come back, it will again come back. So DNA is chemically and structurally stable. However, RNA is easily degradable and labile because of the presence of reactive 2' OH group. What is this reactive 2' OH group? This group, we have seen it in the first part, the ribose sugar and deoxyribose sugar. The ribose sugar is present in RNA, deoxyribose sugar is present in DNA. So this 2OH group that is present in RNA, here it is not present in DNA. This is very reactive, and this makes RNA easily degradable. Okay, so this is important to know. Sometimes there will be question, why is DNA less stable, or why is DNA easily degradable? It is because of presence of this 2' OH group. RNA is also reactive because it is catalytic. Okay, we'll also see the catalytic properties of RNA later, in different parts of this chapter, but it is very reactive. Presence of thymine in DNA instead of uracil also provides stability to DNA. So, now you understand why we have only uracil in RNA and not in DNA, and thymine in DNA, because thymine provides us extra stability to DNA. Hence, as compared to RNA, DNA is more stable and less reactive, and therefore it is the genetic material. So it should be capable of undergoing mutation. Although both DNA and RNA can mutate, since RNA is unstable, it can even mutate at a faster rate. So, so in this condition, one can say, RNA is better candidate because it can mutate at a faster rate. But no, it is unstable. It is easily degradable. Okay, so this is important that DNA is also capable of undergoing mutation. Just because RNA can mutate faster doesn't mean it is the genetic material. Okay. RNA viruses can thus mutate and evolve faster and have a shorter lifespan. Next is expression of the genetic message. So DNA requires RNA for expressing the genetic message by synthesizing proteins. You remember the central dogma, right? You remember the central dogma that DNA has genes. From DNA, it is transcription to RNA, which is generally like the mRNA. And then it forms a polypeptide chain that ultimately forms proteins, which is nothing but sequence of amino acids. So this is the central dogma. So DNA requires RNA for expressing the genetic message by synthesizing proteins. RNA can directly synthesize proteins. Here, RNA can be translated. The process is translation. This shows again both DNA and RNA can act as genetic material. However, DNA is preferred over RNA because of its stability in storing information, as it needs to transmit information from parents to offsprings. Okay, RNA is not stable. It can be easily degraded, but DNA cannot be. Okay, it has good amount of stability in storing information that it transmits from the parents to offsprings. RNA is also more important in transmitting the genetic information because DNA is converted to RNA and then RNA is converted to proteins. So this part of this chapter really focused on a lot of things, and the most important here is the bacteriophage experiment. Okay, from the bacteriophage experiment, you must know the entire experiment, and you should definitely know why there is, when we put it in the sulfur containing radioactive media, why DNA is not being labeled and vice versa. Also, you should know the name of the scientists, Hershey and Chase, you should know that. And then you should know, why DNA is the genetic material. Okay, so thank you for watching the video.